Guys, I want to throw this out. I want to throw this by both of y'all, and I'll defer to y'all, obviously so. But I got to tell you this. When we look at Boston, they go up against the Brooklyn Nets. Is incredible as both KD and Kyrie are. You know, we know that they were deficient in a lot of other areas, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, so you could afford to turn the ball over. Against Milwaukee, there was no Chris Middleton. So obviously, even though Milwaukee was tough, because obviously you got Giannis, the reality of the situation is they were a bit depleted, not having the ultimate mid-range gamer in Chris Middleton, who was good for 20 a night. And obviously, he helped buffer Drew Holiday as well. He wasn't there for you. And then in the NBA Finals, obviously, the Miami Heat are gritty. They're tough. They were led by the greatness of Jimmy Butler. Nobody's denying that. But in the end, they were far from a prolific offense, particularly when you consider the fact that Tyler Hero, the sixth man of the year, was out pretty much the last 4 games or so. Even though he played in the Game 7, he really had nothing left to give you because that hamstring injury ailed him significantly. I'm looking at the Boston Celtics, and I'm saying the Golden State Warriors are an entirely different animal. You can't afford to turn the ball over. Remember, going in, if I remember correctly, JJ, I think it was like game 4 or 5. Jason Tatum was leading everybody in the playoffs in turnovers. He had like 60 turnovers in the postseason entering like game 5. Obviously, Golden State Warriors turn the ball over too, so that's a problem. I'm just saying that if Boston turns the ball over in this series, Golden State is the kind of team that can really, really make you pay and pay dearly for it. And I think it's a different animal for them. What do y'all say to that?
Stephen A., isn't Boston a team that can make Golden State pay too? Like I hear all the things that you're saying.
Golden State can't turn the ball over.
I know, but I hear all your reasons behind, who Boston has played. But like at the same time, when you think about Golden State, okay, so Golden State played a Denver team without Jamal Murray, without Michael Porter Jr. And they played a Memphis team where Steven Adams was out due to health and safety protocol. He made a huge difference when he came back in that series. And Ja Morant then played the last couple of games. They played a Luka team in which Luka had to be incredible in order for him to get by. But let's not act like both teams didn't have things that they needed to work on to get to this point where now you're playing both teams being at their best. So all the things that you said against Boston, like, hey, Boston is the same team like Golden State. Golden State doesn't seem a team like Boston.
Yeah, but
it works both ways.
That's why
right?
that's why I posed the question to both of y'all, because what I'm trying to say is that we know that even though Golden State is a pretty damn good defensive team, Boston is the elite defensive team. In this, I mean, they just been sensational defensively. I'm saying Golden State's offense is so prolific that Boston can't afford to make the mistakes. I know that Golden State can turn the ball over, but at times Boston's offense isn't what we like it to be. JJ, you and I lamented how at times we've watched Boston and we've seen their one-on-one play, and it wasn't attractive basketball to watch. Now they amped it up, they cured the ills, and they cleaned stuff up, and we get that. But they tend to fall back to that from time to time. Golden State is lethal offensively. When they get rolling, they're like a locomotive. You can't stop them. That's the only reason I brought it up, Jay.
Well, no, look, when we talk about factors in this series or things to look for in this series, you bring up an excellent point, Stephen A., and that is the turnovers. In the Warriors' losses, they have way more turnovers. And as we know, they go through stretches of games where they get a little careless with the ball. Draymond trying to fit a bounce pass in on a back cut. Steph throwing an over-the-shoulder left-hand, one-hand pass out of a double team. Like, these are things the Warriors do. On the other side of that, we saw that time and time again throughout the playoffs. When Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have big turnover nights, it's hard to win in the playoffs. The Celtics specifically, they can withstand poor shooting nights. They can't withstand high turnover nights. We saw that specifically in that Miami series. The other thing that I want to talk about a little bit in this series specifically is the Boston Celtics in the clutch. They were 1-4 in the clutch going into Game 7 against Miami in the playoffs. That game shouldn't have been a clutch game. Their offense completely stalled out in the last few minutes of that quarter. And in the regular season, they were awful in the clutch. They were 13-22 in clutch games. Jason Tatum, in particular, in the regular season, 2 for 25 from 3 with 13 turnovers to 7 assists. Like, those are two things as this series progresses that we have to keep an eye on.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.